All right, we are back, and this time we are with,
Pets on Wheels,
and your name is?
David Brummel.
And what does Pets on Wheels do?
We're a volunteer organization. We have volunteer teams. It's a pet and a pet's handler. The pet's handler is always the owner. We don't rent a pet. And these volunteer teams go into nursing homes and hospitals, provide friendly visits for the patients at these facilities. Recently, we've also started with reading programs with the public school system and Enoch Pratt Library. The offshoot program is called Pause to Read usually, but libraries basically request us to provide volunteer teams so children with reading difficulty can read to the dogs. They have found that reading to the dogs is easier for the kids. If they read to their teacher, they read to their parents, they get corrected. They're apprehensive. The dog our dogs just lay there and they read to the dogs and they get, 16 hours practice over a period of 2 weeks. So it helps them with their reading skills.
Okay. Now, you said that the owners of the dogs are the ones that are going around to these different organizations. Is there any special training involved in that? And is that something that you are looking to get out there?
We don't have any special training. We do screen volunteer teams when they start, and we rescreen them every 3 years, checking for temperament of both the pet and the handler. Usually we're interested in whether or not the pet would be a good fit in an institution, but sometimes you can tell the handler is not a good fit for an institution. They may not be able to check out.
Okay. And what is it that you're hoping to accomplish at the gift camp?
When we started 7 years ago, all the log sheets were on paper. They had to be collected. Somebody had to tally up a grocery bag of log sheets at the end of the year. We have put up a website, and volunteers are now logging their time in a database. But that's all we've done. We've gathered the data. We don't have any reporting. We don't have any business processes tied to that data. We're just collecting data. We need modules beyond that. We need reporting modules. We need to know which volunteers aren't visiting. We need to know which facilities aren't getting volunteers. And we're working on that now. Things like, it would be nice to have our facilities, they're in the database. The volunteer can pick a facility and log their hours at that facility with date and time. But it would be really great if we had a Google map or a Bing map where a volunteer could say, I have some more extra time, I'd like to pick up another facility, and they could find facilities in their zip code or within 25 miles of their house. We don't have any features like that. I mean, we have the facility address, that's a good start, but we need to take it to the next step.
Now, you said that you already have a website. Are you wanting this information to be done via the web, or are you looking for more of a standalone?
Things get a little complicated. It's a good question. It's going to be on the web. It's accessible in multiple chapters. We have right now a 3-tier structure. We have first of all, we have a public site, and I'm not so worried about that. It's pretty, it's graphic, and it tells people in the world what we are, what we do. Gives them a link for an application. The member side is where they do the logging, and it's a private area. We need to have 3 tiers. First tier is volunteer. They get in, they log their hours. We'd like modules where they can update their profiles, change their email address in the database. None of that exists. If they want to change their password, that doesn't exist. We track health certificates for the pets that are visiting. A volunteer can have multiple pets. It would be nice if they could go in and look at the pet and see when their health certificate expires so they know when they have to renew their paperwork. That's tier 1. Tier 2 is the coordinators. There are at least 12 coordinators out there. I haven't counted them recently. And they should be able to get reporting on their facilities, their volunteers. I don't think a Charles County volunteer cares if a Baltimore County volunteer is not visiting a facility. So we want to limit the scope of what they view in the database when they're reporting. But we also need to be able to provide them reports. We don't even have reports for them yet. So, but I want up front to be clear that, it's just not a dump of the database. There's going to be scoping involved with different coordinators in different counties. And then at the top tier is the executive director, who wants an overall view of the whole organization and how many hours we're providing, how many hours of service we're providing to the state, so we can go for funding and grants, so we can expand the program.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to talk to your programmer developer about? Is there a specific Is there a specific technology that you're
Well,
working with?
well, right now we're on a Unix host. The ISP provides it. Don't know what version of Unix it is. It's really stable. It runs well. I haven't had any scaling issues. Of course, we're small, so we shouldn't have any scaling issues. We're using MySQL, and what's been written so far has been in PHP. We have a volunteer who's donated all his time so far to put together what we have, and I assume we'll be using him to update what comes out of Code Camp when we need patches or modifications, or when we look at that and go, oh yeah, we didn't tell him about that. We didn't tell him about that exception, and he has to find a way to, fit that into the process.
Okay, so if you could find somebody who with PHP and MySQL experience that would be able to integrate with what you currently
and
have.
We have other functionality available to us. I can't remember all of them, but there's like Ruby on Rails. I'm not even sure what the other technologies are. I should document that, so put that in my case. They are available on our hosting. Our programmer is a smart boy. If it's close to PHP, he should be able to figure out, look at the code and figure it out.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.